Hi, it's Sarah here. So let's take a look at triangle pose, Trikonasana, and we'll take a close look at the alignment. Triangle pose is one of the fundamental poses, and if you practice yoga daily, you probably do this pose every single day. Let's take a look at the right side first. So setting up the base, set the feet apart. Back leg is going to be parallel to the short end of the mat. The toes on the front foot will also be pointing towards the short end of the mat. So we're going to be side bending here. Side bend, the right side of my torso is going to be directly over the right leg. Bring the right arm down and lift the left arm up. Eyes turn up to look at the left hand. So key points here is that my hips are pressing forward. They're not pressing back. So there's no forward bend from the hips in this triangle pose. Keeping the hips forward and keeping it a side bend. So where I really feel it is here on the outside of my left hip. I'm bending to the right, so I feel it here on the left. Triangle pose is actually related to side mountain. Side mountain, so here I'm bending to the right, and I can feel this when I bend to the right. I can feel it along the left side of my hip there. So again, in side mountain, you don't want to bend forward and also to the side. You are only bending to the side. So bring that action here into your triangle pose as well. So this is what I'm emphasizing that we want to do. And then we'll take a look now at often what happens in triangle pose if you try to go too low, if you try to reach too far down with the right hand. You'll notice that my hips are going to go back and my shoulders are going to come forward. So then my right side of the torso is no longer over the right leg. And it's not a wrong or a harmful action in the body, but it's just not correct. You're going to be missing out on alignment and opening that is fundamental to this pose. And if you always work around it, you'll never grow. The triangle that I used to do, I would go for the big toe bind. So I would get the bind, and then you can see that now my left hip is forward. I'm even bending forward here. And, try as I might, you really just can't open up. It just feels way different. And I actually don't even feel, hardly anything here in my left side. But when I rise back up, entering from here, keep the right arm down, lift the left arm, and I just feel the pose so much differently. And then this fundamental action here, it will show up in so many other advanced poses. Okay, so let's take a look at the differences between those two when you're looking at it from a side angle. So this is my old triangle when I would go for the big toe bind. I think this view really emphasizes the difference here. So now I have the big toe bind, and I'm lifting my left arm, looking up, and just take a look at the alignment here. Inhale, rise back up. Okay, now I'm going to enter into what I call my new triangle. And I'm just going to side bend here. I'm not going to emphasize how far down my right hand is going. I want to keep my hips forward and keep the right side of my torso over the right leg. So just take a look here at the differences. And I feel it way differently in my body. And again, it's not that it's going to cause harm to do triangle the other way, but you're just avoiding work. You're missing out on work in the body that lets things open up, because that is one of the tendencies that we have in our yoga practice, is that we do the things that we already can do because that's easier. So if you are learning something new and you want to grow and change and transform, sometimes things get a little messy and they get uncomfortable when we're learning to do something new. This is the old triangle, and I'll try to keep the hips forward as much as I can, just to do an apples to apples type comparison. But I just know that in order to take that big toe bind, I have to buckle at the hips a little bit. I bend at the hips, and then you just can't get that openness. So I feel it differently in this pose. I do feel it on the inner part of my thigh, but I'm not opening up anything here on my right hip. If I keep the hips forward and I let that side bend action happen without any forward bending, This is what it looks like, and it feels so much more open, and I feel like I'm doing something in the pose instead of just trying to make a particular shape. All right, so here we have side mountain. Okay, rise up. I'll set my feet in place for a triangle pose, and then I'm going to take that same side mountain action. And then open the arms. So different. Triangle pose is a fundamental pose, so this would be a daily part of your practice. So for that reason alone, it's worth refining and polishing. And also, triangle pose, if you really do it right here with that alignment and that technique, you are opening yourself up to go deeper into poses that require. Triangle pose shows up here in a side plank. Notice that my hips here are forward, making this side plank much more stable and stronger. If I don't have a good triangle and my hips are back here like this, it's going to make this pose much harder. So inhale, bring the hips forward, and notice the triangle that shows up here in side plank. Half moon pose also has triangle showing up here. Same concept, my hips are sent forward, right arm down, left arm lifts. If I don't have a strong triangle, it's going to make this pose so much easier. I'm probably going to bring my chest forward, and I'm not going to really work the length and the strength and the balance of this pose here. Half moon. All right, so check it out. Try both the old and the new. Details matter when you're practicing. Paying close attention to what you're doing as you're doing it all along the way makes such a big difference.